All-Star Tower Defense is a game where you place down your quote-unquote towers and defend your base from the enemies, because if the enemies touch your base, you'll lose. There are waves, and as each wave goes on, the stronger the enemies are, so it gets harder to defend the base. Sounds pretty simple, right? But this game requires a brain and a real strategy to, get good. Now you might be wondering, why should we trust you, you stinky little idiot? You look and sound like the edgelord. I bet one of your tips is covering your room walls in black paint and Sasuke wallpapers. Now that might be true, but I'm kind of experienced in these type of games, especially a game called Tower Defense Simulator, which is a pretty popular tower game on Roblox, and I've been playing that game for about a year, so I think I know what I'm talking about. So, for you noobs that are soon about to become pros, I have 5 major components of the actual game and how to make the best choices for these components.
For the rugged. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen.
Now the first component of the game is placement. Here is an example of a bad placement. Here is an example of a good placement. Before I explain why these placements are good and bad, I'll tell you guys what makes a good placement. So, in order to make good placement, you have to take advantage of your troops' range while not taking any unnecessary space. When you're placing down a troop, you want to make sure that the troop's range is able to cover the path that the enemy walks through. So, for the bad placement, although I did take advantage of the troop's range, the troop was taking unnecessary space that could be used for other troops to be placed down. Placement is important because it allows the actual troop that you're placing down to perform the best possible way. This placement tip goes for the troops that are placed on hills as well. For hill troops, although you don't necessarily have to think about the range since the range is pretty big mostly, you still have to think about the space that your troop can be taking. So if I make good placement, I can fit more troops on the hill. The placement is also about the actual location. If you guys didn't know already, the troop has to be somewhat involved in the actual fight instead of just doing nothing. So yes, try to get your troops to be involved in action so that way you can actually help your teammates instead of doing nothing. The second component is communication.
For the rugged. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen.
Yes, like I said earlier, this game is a strategy game. How are you gonna have a strategy without communicating? Communication is important for any type of team-based games, but it's especially important for this game since you have to communicate with your teammates in order to win. It's better to be in a voice chat, but if you're with people that are complete strangers and you think they are creepy and mean, or you just don't want to be in a voice chat, then just, use your Roblox chat. What I'm trying to say without being cringe is that communicating is really easy and communication can really help with the gameplay, so please communicate. The third component is background knowledge.
Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen.
So, you don't have much experience. Well, that's not good. Unless you have background knowledge of the game. Having background knowledge can easily make up for the lack of experience you have in this game. So, I have background knowledge of this game, meaning I know exactly what my troops do in the game, and I know different types of enemies and how to conquer them. Yes, there are different type of enemies in this game if you guys didn't know already. For instance, there are the air type enemies that can only get attacked by the hill troops. There is the cloner enemy, which they make clones of themselves when they die. The All-Star Tower Defense game has a page on the website called Neccolo, which gives a lot of information about not just the towers, but everything else in the game really. So looking at the website is really all you have to do to get this component down. The link to the Neccolo will be in the description, so please read the description. The fourth and debatably the most important component is decisions.
Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen.
This decision component can lead to a lot. For instance, what are you gonna have on your avatar? Which shoes are you gonna wear? Since there are a lot of decisions you can make, you should only focus on these 3 decisions. The first decision is your loadout. What towers are you gonna have? If you think this is hard, you must have a balance. I'd say at least one hill troop, and then if possible, one or more AoE troop, and then you can figure out from there. Now, you don't have to follow my advice, just make sure that your loadout is actually like good. The second decision is to place down more troops or to upgrade them. Let me explain. So let's say you have about 4 troops down on the map and you're thinking, what should I do? Upgrade the current troops I have or place down even more low upgraded troops? Now this decision may vary, but if the troops you place down on the map are not fully upgraded, then do not place any more troops. You should place 4 troops to begin with and then try to upgrade each one to the max. Make sure when you are trying to upgrade the troops you have on the map, you should be focusing on only one troop at a time. Don't be hopping around and upgrading each troop, because some troops are actually terrible if they are not maxed. So yeah, just focus on one at a time. But let's say your troops are maxed, then yes, absolutely, place down more troops. But if you're like me who doesn't use a farming troop that can give you cash each wave, then you should only place one troop down after all your troops are maxed. After you placed your singular troop down, max it out and then repeat. That way you can eventually have all your troops maxed out so they can perform much better. Now this might be different for people that use farming troops, so if you're one of those people that use farming troops, just get a lot of cash and then help your teammates. So please don't be focusing on just your farm, and please do something for the team instead of being useless. The third and last decision is selling your troops. The reason for you selling your troop can vary, but if you're selling your troop just because the placement is bad, then do not sell the troop because that's wasting cash. The selling feature does not give 100% of the cash back. So let's say I spent $1,000 on just upgrading my troop. If I sold that troop, I would not be getting $1,000 back. I would only be getting around like 600. The last component is strategy.
Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. Frozen.
What's your strategy gonna be? Spamming Dragon Ball characters on the hill, spamming farms, and playing the waiting simulator? Or you don't have a strategy? If you don't have a strategy, get out.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't get out, please. It's a joke.
If you don't have a strategy, here's one for you. The strategy is having around 50% ground troops and 50% hill troops. Obviously, it does not have to be like exactly 50%, but you guys get the point. Now, if you guys haven't noticed already, there is a thing called prioritize that basically allows your towers to target a certain type of enemy. There are 4 prioritize options that you can pick. The options are first, last, strongest, and weakest. For this strategy, you want your hill troops to be set to strongest, but not all the hill troops. So that way some of your hill troops can attack the strongest of the enemies and some of them, can just take care of the rest. For ground troops, you might want to set them to first, but I've seen some people set their AoE troop to the quote unquote last option. So if you want to do that for your AoE troop, go ahead. If you're playing infinite mode, you might want to sell your ground troops to place more hill troops if you reach the max capacity of towers placed down. Because hill troops tend to generally do more damage, but this doesn't mean completely sell all your ground troops, because if you did, well, you're probably gonna lose, and so don't do that. Well guys, you made it to the end. I know for sure that if you guys implement these tips and tricks into your actual gameplay, you will be better at the game than you were before. Feel free to share this video with your friends so not only yourself gets better at the game, but your friends also get better at the game. So whenever you guys play together, you can beat a bunch more waves than you were able to do before. Now here is a gameplay with myself and GamerTiny implementing all these tips and tricks so you guys can see how these tips really played out.
You're quick to change your mind.
31 waves for 3 people, and also considering that I'm a hecking level 13. Not bad at all.